Dear Mr. Urban Dictionary, I read your definition recently on slam poetry, and I'd like to formally file my complaint for the way you've portrayed my art form, and I'd also like to remind you your prestige is a bit shaky, hidden behind definitions 1 and 2 disagreeing, and your editors being anyone with a 4th grade mentality to log onto the net. Forget intelligence once the 21st century. Now, you may be thinking that I'm being a bit too harsh to a website that's primary function is to explain the new slang for sexual intersection, what a reach around is, and how to pull a Superman, but I think you'll understand when you hear what they wrote. And I quote, "The poetry that thrives in a culture of non-readers, very sincere, bad poetry delivered in front of and given encouragement from a small group of people who are also bad poets, slam poets, think their poetry is more powerful if they just yell. It's sincerely painful to listen to. It's bad poetry. They try very hard, but they have no idea what they're doing. Most slam poetry could be better classified as motivational speaking or stand-up comedy." I'm sorry, but I don't think I'm very funny. And I think I rhyme more than Dane Cook and have more rhythm than George Bush did, and thank you, but I can read, and do often. In fact, Stephen King told me, if you don't have the time to read, you don't have the time or the tools to write, and Lawrence Clark Powell said, write to be understood, speak to be heard, read to grow, and I do all three, so I breathe out slam poetry. And I'm not the only one, because I know poets who drop atomic bomb quotes from Gandhi, Emerson, Alfred Lord Tennyson. Heard of him? Kierkegaard and the Bard. Shakespeare. Crowds who cheer at the names of Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and that reference is pretty obscure and esoteric, don't you think? And yes, Mr. Urban Dictionary, some poets may scream, but if you listen carefully, you'll hear inflection and tone no written word can hone accurately. And that's coming from a lit major. Reading is what I do, what I love, what keeps my heart's beat. So as a writer, I will search the globe over for good writers, but television's been failing me, and movies are expensive, and books, well, thank you, Gutenberg, but I think you screwed the world over, because now we're stuck with Twilight. Now just give me 90 more seconds and I'll finish this up and let the next poet come up and do exactly what I'm doing. Throw up her 2 cents on the beauty in Twilight, because that is what art is. That is what poetry is. It's subjective. It's the expression of the messiness we're stuck with in our hearts, where we figure out how to survive in a time of uncertainty. And let me tell you, uncertainty tears me to pieces every time I think, but this poetry in motion is what we do to keep ourselves from sinking. Because the world that weighs us down begins to leave us when we begin to ball up our feelings and then spit them out to a crowd that gets us. A crowd that's like a family. As we sit around the dining room stage and talk about things I would never tell a stranger, I'm going to tell you because you feel me. You feel my pain. And that's family. That's poetry. And let me tell you, sorry. And as a great slam poet once laid claim, this is nothing edgy or new. I mean, it's not like we're E.E. Cummings. We're not dropping leaves inside of loneliness. And if I know what that means, obviously I know how to read. I'm sorry. I started to scream. Apparently, that hurts your feelings, because art or poetry isn't supposed to be loud and vibrant. It should be a diluted grayscale, and that's another quote from another great poet. Because I not only speak to be heard, I don't only read to grow, I don't only write to be understood. I listen to understand. And if you don't understand what we're saying, if all you hear are loud sounds, a little joke here, some motivation there, if that's all you hear, then obviously you're not listening to the stories. And if that's true, Mr. Urban Dictionary, then I have no more words for you. Sincerely, addicted to poetry.